And viewers are getting in visuals right now of Navneet Rana, who has been taken to the Leelavati hospital. The visuals on your screens in which Navneet Rana, the independent MP, has been taken to the Leelavati hospital after she was released from the Byculla jail. And there we have the visuals of Navneet Rana, who is being treated at the Leelavati hospital. Remember, Navneet Rana has now been released from the Byculla jail, and those are the first visuals we are getting to you, the inside shots from the Leelavati hospital where Navneet Rana is currently being treated after she complained of her health getting deteriorated. And now she has been taken to the Leelavati hospital. In fact, just a short while back, we had BJP leader Kirit Somaiya as well, who has gone to the Leelavati hospital to pay a visit to Navneet Rana. And there we have Navneet Rana, who is being taken inside the hospital in a wheelchair. So her health situation definitely not looking good. We have Ankit reporting live from the very location. Ankit, over to you. What more can you tell us?
So this is a video where you can see Navneet Rana here. She has been taken into Leelavati hospital. She has apparently been put on a bed and she's lying down there. She's strapped into that hospital system and she's also receiving a checkup. So very soon a doctor also comes there and begins her inquiries. Also seen is Kirit Somaiya, who is right there, and so are a number of other people. And Navneet Rana doesn't appear to be talking or anything. That cannot be said at the moment, but she does appear to be answering the doctor's questions is what we can make out. Now remember, viewers, she has complained earlier also that she is a patient of spondylitis. She has back issues, and it is perhaps that or perhaps something else also that is the reason for her immediately after her release going to Leelavati hospital. She had gone to hospital yesterday as well. Even while her bail hearing was on, she was there, and even after the bail came out, she went back to the hospital to spend the night in Byculla jail. And there now you have, after she has come out of Byculla Women's Prison, the first place she was taken to was Leelavati. She was wheeled into the hospital on a wheelchair. There are two videos of hers that are out. One is of her being taken in the wheelchair, and in the other video you can see her lying on her bed, and the doctor comes in and the doctor begins consultation and an inquiry to ascertain her. Yes.
Well, that's right, Ankit. We have Ankit as well, who continues to be with us. Ankit, we can see those visuals on our screens, the inside shots of Navneet Rana being treated inside the hospital. If you could share with us more details as to her health situation, condition as of now.
So what we know and we can state definitively comes from a letter shared by her lawyer Rizwan Merchant, who has written to the ADG of Maharashtra as well as the Lok Sabha Speaker. And in that letter, he had complained that after she was sent to judicial custody, after her arrest from her car residence, she had first been taken to hospital somewhere around the 29th of April. And according to that checkup, her spondylitis complaint was the subject, and a CT scan had been ordered. And however, what happened was that the authorities did not allow her to undergo that CT scan, and Rizwan Merchant, her advocate, took umbrage at it. And so yesterday again, while the bail hearing was on, or rather while the bail order was to be pronounced, Navneet Rana was once again taken to hospital. She spent almost the entire day in hospital, and her lawyer wrote in that letter that the reason that her spondylitis was aggravated was because during her stay in the hospital, during her stay in the jail, she had to spend nights sleeping and sitting on the stone floor, and that was not a favorable condition for her to be in. That caused a spike in her condition and caused her some amount of discomfort, and hence I think you have the situation where immediately after her release from Baikala Women's Prison, the first place she was taken to was the Lilavati Hospital. We are told it's for a checkup. It's unknown at this point whether it entails an actual full-on admission. But from what we can see in these visuals, she is not in a fit state to walk, essentially, because she had to be wheeled in on a wheelchair, and then she has been laid flat on her back on a hospital bed. And the doctor is inquiring in the video. You can see quite clearly that a doctor comes in and begins an inquiry and a consultation, and hopefully relief will be provided to Navneet Rana insofar as her medical condition goes as well. She has just received relief from the courts yesterday, and she was relieved from the prison also today after the release orders were finally passed on from the Borivali court to the two prisons. We are awaiting also Ravi Rana being released from Taloja jail. That's where he's lodged. That's a lot further away, so it took some time for the letters to reach there. In the Navneet Rana case, her advocate in fact took the letter from Borivali court to the Baikala jail by local train, because it was thought, I think by him, that that is the fastest way to get there. And so there wasn't much of a time difference between the letter being issued and Navneet Rana emerging from the prison. And now all of a sudden we find her at the Lilavati hospital where she is receiving treatment. Kirit Somaiya, who initially was supposed to go to the Rana's residence, he had said yesterday that he would be here as soon as they return and he would speak to them. He, however, has made his way to Lilavati Hospital as well. We just saw him address the media, and he blamed the Maharashtra government, and he continued to shame them for this incident taking place over the threat of recital of the Hanuman Chalisa of all things. And he has continued to refer to it as a mafia-esque act. You'll remember, viewers, that Kirit Somaiya's current grouse with the Maharashtra government is inextricably tied to the Rana's fate, because when he had turned up at the Khar police station to meet them after their arrest, it was right then while he was leaving that his car had come under attack, over which an enormous controversy ensued. He himself received a cut on his lip. He then went to the Bandra police station, and till 2:30 in the morning the BJP was protesting there, trying to get an FIR filed. He later went to Delhi. He met the Home Secretary there, and that spun off into its own controversy. But now you see once again these two threads coming back together and merging. Kirit Somaiya and Navneet Rana are together. Navneet Rana is receiving treatment in the Lilavati hospital. She's barely been out of prison now for 45 minutes. That's all it's been, really speaking. But she's clearly in some amount of discomfort. This is an issue that she has essentially been complaining about ever since day one of her being lodged in judicial custody. In fact, Samiksha, you were there. It was at the Santa Cruz police lockup where she was shifted on the night of her arrest from Khar to Santa Cruz. And at Santa Cruz, it was alleged that she wasn't given water. She wasn't allowed to use the restroom. And that was when we had first heard the reports that she was not feeling very well. And on top of that, it's now been another 11 days, 12 days in total, and they have been in judicial custody since then. Finally, the court's order was ready by Saturday, but because of time constraints, the order was not able to be pronounced. And so it finally only was read out yesterday, and that is when the bail was granted. After that, it took one full day for them to be released from prison, because there was protocols and procedure to be followed. Sureties had to be given. Also, all of yesterday, like we said, she was already in hospital. So at the end of the day, she was taken back to Baikala jail. Meanwhile, in a separate spin-off, the BMC had come on the 2nd of May and pasted notices at their residence in Khar, stating that there is a chance that there are illegal alterations that have been made. And if so, the BMC reserves the right to visit their residence and conduct a survey and take information and take pictures and then decide on the necessary action. We can tell you that again, earlier today morning, the BMC officials, 4 in number, arrived at their residence. They went up. Again, the door was locked, so they were not, of course, allowed to go inside. But they knew that. They knew they wouldn't be able to go inside. However, when they came out, they told the media that they will expect a letter from the Ranas to them, where the Ranas will specify when is a correct date for them to come to their house and conduct this survey on the alleged alteration. So there are a number of stories. The Ranas remain under a lot of pressure. The court also, as part of its bail order, imposed a number of conditions on them. One, of course, that each of them would have to pay a 50,000 rupee surety for their release. The second is that they cannot speak with the media on any of the issues under which they are being investigated at the moment. So that includes the Hanuman Chalisa matter, that includes being charged with sedition and everything else that's happened in these last 12 days. So they can't speak to the media about it. Another thing is that they can't hamper or tamper with the investigation. They are a sitting member of parliament and a sitting member of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, Navneet and Rana from Amravati. They have had conditions placed upon them. Currently, they are under pressure on a number of fronts. When Pradeep Gharat, the public prosecutor for the Maharashtra government, was arguing against them being granted bail, he had pointed out that in total, there are about 25 cases against them. 17 against Navneet Rana, or is it 18? I'm sorry, 18 against Ravi Rana and 7 against Navneet Rana. These are the antecedents, quote unquote, that Pradeep Gharat has alleged. And so clearly there remain legal issues for them to contend with. And in Navneet Rana case, there's also now a health issue and a medical issue because of which she is receiving treatment in the Lilavati hospital. She's getting checked up. We remain awaiting the result of these tests and to find out how long her stay in Lilavati will be. Will it be a checkup? Will she be admitted? And things of that nature. But for the moment, we can say that she is unable to walk easily without discomfort, and she is currently being checked up. Kirit, Somaiya, senior BJP Maharashtra leader, is also with her, Samiksha. That is for the moment.
Well, absolutely, Ankit. And, you know, while you take us through those visuals, details of the visuals you are getting, important to note here of the kind of allegations that Navneet Rana also made in the letter that she had written, where she had spoken about the treatment she's being meted out in the hospital. Well,
yes, most definitely. Yes. There are 2 letters in this regard. There are 2 letters in this regard, Samiksha. One is the letter with to do with how she wasn't provided water and wasn't allowed to use the bathroom. And that came with an even graver charge, because the reason she allegedly wasn't allowed to use the restroom or was given water was because of her caste. Now, that has been fiercely contested by the Mumbai Police Commissioner, who has in fact shared a photo of earlier from the Khar police station when she was served tea. And so there was a evidence versus evidence face-off, and we had her lawyer come out and say, why don't you provide the CCTV footage of their night in the Santa Cruz lockup and not just the picture of them first arriving in Khar. So that was an unresolved issue and remains so, because the Lok Sabha speaker also took it up. He was apprised of it because it was a matter concerning such essentially a human rights violation of an elected member of parliament. And so he referred it to the Lok Sabha's privilege committee and also sought a report from the Maharashtra government.
All right, Ankit, thank you. Yes. All right, Ankit, keep tracking all those updates. We'll keep coming back to you for more on that.